Now we are discussing average velocity and average speed. We already discussed what is distance and displacement. When an object is in motion, when the object is moving from point A to point B, its position changes with respect to time. Definitely no, we know the position is changing with respect to time. But the question is how fast the position is changing with respect to time and in what direction the position is changing with respect to time. We know the position of the object is changing with respect to time, but now the question is how fast the position is changing and in what direction the position is changing. In order to describe these two terminologies, in order to describe these two, we define the quantity called as average velocity. So average velocity is defined as the ratio of change in position of the object to time interval, change in time interval. Example, if the object is started at the position x1 and now the object finally it traveled to x2, the starting time of the object is t1 and when it traveled to x2, now the time is t2. Change in the position is x2 minus x1 and the change in the time interval t2 minus t1. So it is the ratio of x2 minus x1, t2 minus t1. We represent this difference with the delta x by delta t. Because the displacement is a vector quantity, here average velocity is also vector. Means average velocity can be either positive or negative, because displacement can be either positive or negative. If displacement is positive, average velocity is also positive. If displacement is negative, average velocity is also negative. If displacement is zero, then average velocity is zero. The unit for average velocity is meter per second, or we also called as meter second inverse. This is the SI unit. Now, what is average speed? What is the difference between average velocity and average speed? As we discussed earlier, average velocity involves only on the displacement of the object. But now, in reality, the object may not move in the straight line only. The object may not move in the shortest path only. It may move in other paths also. Then, in order to find the rate of motion over the actual path, we define the physical quantity called as average speed. So average speed is nothing but it is the ratio of the total path length, whatever the path length it is taking, the total path length to total time interval. Because the total path length is nothing but the distance, it is a distance by time interval. Distance does not have any direction, so average speed does not have any direction. Now, what is the difference between average speed and average velocity? Average velocity can be either positive or negative, and average velocity has direction, whereas average speed does not have direction. When the object is moving in the straight line, at the time, the average velocity and the average speed both become same. But when the object is not moving in the straight line, then the actual path length is different from the displacement. At that time, its a displacement and the distance are different. So at the time, the average speed and the average velocity are different.